Hey, Paul. So there's another example of your team stay in the fight mentality. Andrew Kopp was saying that the team didn't necessarily like the start again tonight. Is there any reason to be concerned that this team's ability to fight its way back into games and pull games out the way it has this year leads to complacency when starting games?
I don't think so at all, Sean. Like, I think we've had um, almost a different dynamic going into each game. Uh, and you always want to be really, really careful about when you win, feeling so good about yourself that you should just come out and dominate the next game. And I don't think that's there. Tonight was a different one. We had as the home team, you got the early skate. Clearly, we had an eventful morning here, and then you got a 9 o'clock game that's just like starts a half hour before my bedtime. I don't know how the players feel about that, but um, I'm not worried about our starts yet because I also don't think we're a team that I don't know that I've seen teams that should come out and dominate start to finish. So we're aware of it, right? We're changing up our routines slightly to make sure that we have some legs here, but I'm not sure that we're going to expect to come out and run the Oilers out of town here in the first 20 minutes, 5-7. So there's not enough of a sample size yet for us to be overly concerned with it.
Go next to Scott Billick. Go ahead, Scott.
Hey, Paul, you mentioned, you kind of mentioned the events of the day. I'm just wondering how you felt your team kind of handled that and the late start tonight. You've kind of answered it, but maybe a little more in depth on that.
Well, you're watching for it as the coaching staff. We talk about that, but we were moving well in the morning skate, right? There's lots of energy, but some of that energy comes from the events, right? It's a major deal that just happened, and that wakes everybody up. And boy, at 10:30 morning skate and you're on the ice at 9 o'clock at night. That's something we have to learn to deal with. It's brand new in a lot of ways for everybody. I think that's my first 9 o'clocker. So, and then, by 11 o'clock, we were playing pretty darn well. So the energy was there and they found a way. I think we were building in the second in that game. We were getting a little bit stronger. And then, being down 3-2, but a real focus to our game. We were able to push through it. So there were a lot of variables to the game that are new variables that we don't have a lot of experience in dealing with. And even with 25 years in the league, I have no experience dealing with some of this stuff. So we're still trying to figure it out.
Go next to Jeff Hamilton from the Free Press. Go ahead, Jeff.
Hey, Paul, there was a lot of, a lot of unique things heading into this season that had a lot of question marks, obviously with COVID and everything. And you just finished up what would be one of your first of what will be a few, at least, mini series. And I'm just wondering what you took out of that experience, what you maybe learned from your team, and if you think it's going to work well for you guys this year.
It's a different dynamic for sure, because you get these, and we're going to see one in Calgary coming up here soon. I like the back-to-back, and I like the idea of it. And your preparation changes as a coaching staff. You get to focus in on a team and try to make adjustments a little bit more detailed than you would in normal scenario. I think in some ways there's almost an edge maybe to the team that loses the game, or the team that comes away from a game not feeling particularly strong about it. So we go into Toronto, we don't like our game at all. And it's back to back, and they put up an awful lot of shots on us, and Ottawa's all fired up, but we were more focused in that game and did a lot of really good things and then built on it. But I thought coming into tonight with the way it was laid out, that Ottawa had the advantage, the emotional advantage in the game to get into those series. And you lose the game prior, I think the other team gets the advantage, right? They get that focus back. Getting on a run, I think it's going to be difficult to do. I think it's going to be difficult to run the series like we did. That Ottawa team plays hard and they're physical, and there's a cost to each game. And if you've got two in the bank like we did coming into the game tonight, there's just the human nature effect. There's less urgency. But I thought we found the urgency, and that was really important.
We'll go next to Murat Tatesh from The Athletic. Go ahead, Murat.
Hi, Paul. Going back to the news of the day, it ends up being Nick Ehlers who scores the game's opening goal. And he said he spent all afternoon talking to Patty, clearly an important person to him. What does it mean for you to see that he's the one that starts things off and has the game that he did?
Well, some mental toughness there for him. He and Patty were very, very close. And that's a tough day when you lose your friend, your closest friend on the team. That's a real challenge. So we felt that Nikolaj is in a lot of ways turned pro, if that makes sense. He's not a young man anymore, and he's a driver for our team. So good on him that he was able to take some tough news and still get back to the game at hand and get his focus back. And he, like the rest of the team, I thought he built and got stronger as the game went on.
And final question to Ken Wiebe from Sportsnet. Go ahead, Ken.
Evening, Paul. Where did Dylan DeMelo make his biggest impact, and what does it mean to just be able to plug and play a guy like that for 22 minutes?
I think in part the security of his game, the safety and simplicity of his game, but also getting Josh back to his natural side, just kind of that another veteran guy. I think when Dylan's at his best, coaches all appreciate some of the small area things that he does. Just his positioning is always really strong, which makes him easier to play with for Josh. And as you know, he worked out every day, but you're not practicing with the team. I think you'll see Dylan's game get stronger as he goes forward as well.